Welcome to this quick training on sharing roles in Google Workspace for Education. Whether you're a teacher, staff member, or admin, knowing the do's and don'ts of sharing helps you protect your documents along with granting the correct access to your teams. Let's get started. When we share files and folders and links in Google Drive, Gmail, or even Classroom, we're not just being productive, we're also being responsible for any data within our district. Let's break down how you can share, how to share, and when it's best to use a Google Drive or a shared drive. All of your documents and files are stored in your Google Drive. Your Google Drive is a big storage space where you keep everything that's important to your role. It can be documents, pictures, and other files that you need to have safe and organized. Instead of storing them in a physical folder, you can store them on the internet. And as long as you have access to the internet, you can reach these files anywhere, anytime, and using any device, such as a tablet or phone. And we often know when we store these files and documents into our Google Drive, we often need to share them and give access to others, whether it's just to view or even to edit. Let's take a look at what that might be like. Before we take a look at an actual document and granting sharing roles, let's go over what those sharing roles are. You have Viewer, where you can view the file and you cannot make any changes or share it with others. Commenter, they can view the file, make comments and suggestions, but they can't edit the file themselves. Editor, they can view and edit the file and also share it with others. So before you share a link or a document, it's important to grant the sharing roles. Now, if you only need to share a document with a few others that you're collaborating with, it's best just to give the sharing rights. But if you need to collaborate with a large group of people or your entire team, it may be best to just create a shared drive and add those documents to a shared drive. There's a video linked below on the difference between a shared drive and my drive in the description. Here's some common uses for a shared drive. Events for people working on a defined period of time on a specific event, such as collaborating for a big field trip or a fall festival. Maybe your school's graduation. Since there's a lot going on and a lot of moving parts, and you may need to access many documents by many different team members, you may just want to create a share drive. Templates are great for whenever you're doing the same task over and over. This allows for everyone to do the same task and have some uniform to it. Also, training files, procedural documents, different processes and protocols your entire team needs to know about, just put those in a share drive. That way everybody knows how to access them and where to access them at any point in time. If you have the exact same people involved in the same projects over and over, you may want to create just a shared drive in subfolders for the entire team to utilize that drive instead of sharing the documents individually. Sharing them individually could cause them to get lost and people could make mistakes. Using a shared drive helps keep things organized. The first key point with all of this is to make sure that we always log in with our JCPS email. This is how we will access our drive or our shared drives. And like I said, we've gone over some of the differences with shared drive and your drive, and you can watch another video on that listed here in the description. But when we're sharing one individual document, we'll want to update those sharing roles for that document. Now keep in mind, if you make changes to the sharing roles but then move it to a shared Google Drive, all of the roles and access will be updated to that shared drive. It will give access to anyone in the shared drive, and it may not keep the individual access that you provided on that one document. Now let's take a look at providing those sharing rights. Now let's take a look at some of our sharing options. We're going to share a document from my drive. If you're not sure how to access your drive, you'll just hit the waffle and click on My Drive. And then you're going to see all the documents that either have been shared with you or you are the owner of. First, let's open up a document that I need to share with my team. This is something that we need to get e-signatures on. But before we send it out to get e-signatures, I need to share it with others to make sure that the document's okay. We can do this by hitting Share. First, we need to know all of our options. In Google Workspace, you can share with specific people within your entire organization or with anyone who has the link. We always want to do either restricted and give individual access or anyone with a link. If we select the JCPS option, then this gives the entire district the ability to search your document. For now, we're just going to stay with restricted because I only need to share this with a couple people. Both of these recipients are going to need different rights. This one just needs to be able to comment. We don't need them to be able to change the document in any way, but they may want to give us some advice. They can add comments on it. We're going to hit send. And you can do multiple people at once. So both of these will get edit access. You can even add expiration if you want them to only have access for a certain amount of time. So we are going to select that, and we want them to only have access until the end of the day. We'll say 9 p.m. They have until 9 p.m. to make their edits. And then hit send. If we want to send this in maybe an email or a Google chat, and we want people to just be able to view it, we can select share. Anyone with a link can view and copy that link. So then anyone can open that link in their browser. And if we need to change that access at any point in time, we can just hit that drop down and remove the access. Don't forget to hit save after you make that change. Share, drop down, remove access. Now, if you need to transfer ownership, which means you don't want to be the owner of this document anymore, mainly due to you're leaving the district, select share, drop down, transfer ownership. It's going to give you a pop-up making sure that you know what you're doing is correct. You'll hit yes, and you now see that they are the new owner. Done. And if we head back up to the sharing roles, we can see that we still have editing rights. So we can still add people if we need to. Now that we're no longer the owner of this document, let's switch to a different one so we can take a look at some other things that we can do. We're going to head back to our drive. I have this ecosystem lesson plan that I want to share with my team, but I don't want them to share that with other people. I'm going to hit share. Anyone with a link can view. Copy that link. And you'll also see the little settings gear up here. Allow editors to change permissions and share. If you want your editors to only be able to edit the document, but not change permissions such as adding others or the ability to share, you'll want to remove that check. And viewers and commenters can see the option to download, print, and copy. We're going to remove that as well. And we'll take a look at what that means. So now anyone with a link can view, but they cannot make a copy, print, or download. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So we're going to paste that exact same link that was given to us. And as we see here, I can scroll through and look at that lesson plan, but I can't make any changes. I would have to request edit access to do so. If I hit share, I also don't have the access to share it with anyone because that checkbox was removed. And usually you have the option to make a copy. I don't have that here because of the access that was granted on this document. But they can always hit request edit access, type in a message, and hit send. I'm not going to do this because it would send an email. Now let's take a look at a document that's been shared with me. You can do that by checking out who's the owner right here or hitting shared with me. I'm going to go ahead and select the shared with me option in my Google Drive and then hit my solar system document. As you can see here, I only have view access for this, and I would need to select to request edit access. But if I hit file, I can make a copy and put this in my drive. I'm going to give it a new name. I can see right here that's going to save in this folder and make a copy. I'm going to close that previous one, and here it is. So if we do not disable that checkbox in the sharing rules by hitting the gear, even if someone only has view rights, they can still make a copy. But I can go and completely edit this document if I wanted to. So I can go and make changes. Font bigger. I can edit it because I now own it. If you're unsure if you own a document or not, always hit the share and you can see who the owner is. Now that we've gone through the basic sharing rules, let's walk through how we can force someone to make a copy. We'll head back to our drive. I'm going to click on my drive. I have this best day ever activity that I'm going to share with multiple people, but I don't want them to work off mine or even have edit access. They need to have their own copy of this. Something really neat that we can do is head up to the search bar in our browser and delete all the way back to where it says edit. You want to remove that edit and type in the word copy. We will then copy this entire URL and send that link. When we send that link to someone and they put it in their browser, it will automatically force them to make a copy. One quick thing, before you grant that access, you do have to head to share. Anyone with a link can view. For the forced copy to work, you have to update that access. So now it will automatically make a copy in their drive when they click on make a copy. And you'll see it says copy of the best day ever. Now let's take a look at some do's and don'ts of sharing. Do use viewer or commenter when someone doesn't need edit access. Don't share sensitive student information in publicly accessible files, which means you should always keep restricted option and share it with those that are necessary. Double check your sharing settings before posting links in Google Classroom or email. For example, if you do not want people to download or make copies of those documents, make sure you make that selection. Do not share with anyone with the link unless it is absolutely necessary, such as sharing maybe a fall festival flyer with your entire school. Go ahead. But if you need to share some protocol information with your front office staff, keep it as restricted and set those sharing permissions by person. Do remove the access when it's no longer needed. This will help keep your documents safe, and as people move into different departments or leave, come and go, that they don't keep the access that they do not need. And do not assume that only the intended recipients can access these shared files. Remember, if someone has edit access, they can share these with others. If you do not remove the make a copy access, people can make copies of your documents and send them to others, or even download them. With Google Drive and using your docs, you can simplify your daily tasks and store all your files in Drive, making them accessible from anywhere. You can use your Google Docs for collaborative writing, sharing meeting notes, creating to-do lists, and sharing your lesson plans, which makes everything so much easier for everyone. Everything stays safe in the cloud. With real-time editing and working together has never been easier. But it's important that we keep our documents secure and grant those accesses correctly. You can find additional resources at jcps.me/TLC, view all of our videos on our digital learning channel, and of course, view our trainings at jcps.me/teachpoint.